Hello and welcome, cats and kittens, to Culture Doom. This is episode 423. I'm one half of your hosting duo. My name is Alex.
I'm the other half. My name is Brendan.
How are you doing, Brendan? Good to see you.
Why am I getting a text? Are we getting a text?
We got a text.
Are we in trouble?
I think so. Gentlemen, I regret to inform you that wife.
What did we do?
I don't know.
We weren't even that loud.
No.
You're being loud.
I'm being loud. Well, she can't hear you, obviously.
We got.
But
Alex and I think
that was actually meant for me, but she accidentally hit the text chain. That's
okay. So
all three of us.
I'm saying Alex and I got yelled at by Mom. Yes, Alex, this is episode 423. I'm happy to see you.
Very happy to be back.
We were talking about something before we started recording, and so we're going to pick right back up with this, which is basically on a highway, a scenario of passing on the right-hand side.
Right. So, on an interstate highway, you've got the two lanes, and the right lane is for slower traffic, which is weird because everybody's supposed to go the speed limit, but whatever. And the left lane then is utilized for passing. Well, sometimes you get into those weird, crazy scenarios where there's some rando in the right lane that doesn't want to use the left lane to get around people and thinks that people should just move out of their way because they're an emergency vehicle. And they'll come up on your ass and they're going to hit up their high beams like in the middle of the morning, like around like 9:30, and you're just like, what are you doing, dude?
This is madness to me because I can understand being in the left lane and coming up to somebody and being like, get over. Like, I'm going faster than you. If you're in a situation where you're in the left lane and someone's going faster, you need to move over to the right. To be somebody already in the right lane and getting angry that the people in front of you aren't moving means you're probably drunk or high or something, because that's not a rational behavior from a normal human being who's driven ever in their life.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think now that I think of it, I think they need to switch the two. I think the left lane should become the regular traffic lane and the right lane should become the passing one. Because the right one...
No, the right lane is the passing lane. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
right. Sorry,
basically, because that's where your actual on and off ramps are. So it's like if you're trying to if you're trying to pass somebody, anybody who's just going forward doesn't need to be in the right-hand lane because that's where all the slow are.
Yeah, but the left lane should just be cruising at... But the fact that there's people merging is why the right lane needs to be slower. Because if you're coming off of a ramp going 35 miles per hour, accelerating, and you're in a little, I don't know, what's a little, like a
Prius.
A Prius, and your acceleration is not the best necessarily. You don't need somebody flying by you at 85 miles per hour. My approach to the highway, and it would make everything easier if everybody did this, is lock your cruise control at 80 miles per hour once you're in the far left lane, and then just go in a straight line
until you see the trooper.
And I've never gotten a ticket on the highway, and I pretty much lock it in at 85 and but I go with traffic, and traffic.
I got pulled over twice.
I got pulled over once on a service road.
That's weird. Like a frontage road?
Yeah. It was when
Why
I was
would they be sitting there.
It was when I was at well, you'll know what this means, I think. When I was in Sugar Grove and I was coming back home after class, and there's a little service road from that school to the real highway, and I was on that road going probably as fast as I would have been going on the highway, and I got pulled over, and I think it was a $125 speeding ticket.
Holy crap!
And I paid in cash to the trooper, which means it never it means nothing ever happened. The entire situation never happened.
That's what I hate about that, because it's almost like Yeah, that's kind of like extortion.
Oh yeah,
because I've had the case before where it's like they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be this much in cash, and this is like, I'm like, this is like in the mid 2000s maybe, and I'm just thinking to myself, nobody's walking around with cash like that. It's like there's people that walk around with cash like that, but they're usually selling something also on the street.
This was like 2003. Yeah, and I had just gotten paid for my ice cream job, so it was Friday, and I was like get out of class. It's the start of the weekend. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon. It's summer. I'm just like in my little Focus. Speaking of slow cars, in my little black Focus, listening to Tupac. And this.
Well, that's what happened. He was profiling you.
He's like those.
It was like he's probably got a whole bunch of cash on him too.
White boy.
I always hated that because then otherwise they'll just take your driver's license and give you that stupid piece of paper, and then you have to try to like, okay, I need to go and get cash now.
There was this moment of he's like, it's going to be this or your driver's license, and I was just like, I've got cash.
Unzips fly.
And then there was that moment of like, oh, so his weekend started and my weekend crashed and burned.
Yeah. It needs to keep balance in the force, and that's how it goes. But yeah, I've always thought that was complete garbage.
But so you've gotten busted for 80 miles per hour in your, like, on, what is that, 57 or whatever?
Yeah, 57. Both times coming to see Erica when she was still in school.
Oh, how romantic.
And one of the times I got off of my, it was a daytime.
Alex was going 80 miles an hour towards casual sex.
Hey, you know what? I put a ring on it. All right, I'm absolved of those sins, Father. Mm-hmm. One time it was during the daytime, and I just got a ticket. It was like a ticket. It wasn't anything bad, and didn't take my license, but I had to pay it by mail because he saw that I did not live anywhere in Douglas County. So I'm just like, thank you. And then another time, it was the trooper was more confused by what the whole thing happened, because I was driving and I guess I was speeding and it was at nighttime, and it's probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock or something. And I was like, I was near like Tuscola or something like that, and the trooper put his lights on, wanted me to pull over, and I was in the left lane. So what did I do is that I ended up pulling over into the shoulder.
On the left?
On the left side.
That's normal. That's not weird.
Well, usually if you're going to get pulled over, everybody ends up going to the right.
If
like they're in the right lane, or they go over to the right shoulder.
If I was in the left lane and there's a shoulder there, I would have pulled over to the left also.
I know, but I think
I don't think that's weird at all.
I'm guessing in his experience it doesn't really ever happen, because he pulled me over and he's just like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "You're notice you're speeding and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just like tired and stuff." I guess I must have been really super tired because I think I had like worked like that day and stuff. And he's just like, "Well, there's some coffee here and stuff." He's like, "Also, like, can I ask you why when you pulled over, why you got into the median shoulder?" I was just like, "Well, I was already in left lane, so I just came over here, and then I thought like it might be safer for you." He's like, "Oh, well, I appreciate it." He's like, "I appreciate it." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, I'm just gonna, if you need to get a hotel room, get some coffee, go do that. But you should be driving tired, so I'll just give you a verbal warning." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm just going to Charleston. I should be there soon, but I'll stay in the right hand lane." He's like, "All right, just." So he was kind of cool with that. I think he was like in his like early 30s or something from what I remember. So he was probably like, just new or something like that. But that was my story, kids. What's your stories? Send your stories to contact@culturedoom.com, and we'll read it live on air, pre-recorded, in front of a live studio audience. There is no audience.
Okay, so what we should do is when the lights come on behind you, turn on your emergency lights first, your flashing lights. to acknowledge to the police officer that you know that you're busted. Then, basically, this cop says, look for the safest location to park your car.
Okay.
Remember, the police car will be parked behind you, so find a place that's large enough for 2 vehicles. If this is on the interstate or highway, there's usually an adequate amount of space on the right side of the road if you pull over there. Never pull over on the left side, even if there's a median. If there's a driveway or business part. But my question is why? Like,
why?
if it's 2 lanes and then like a giant median, and then
like a grassy trench.
Why wouldn't you pull over to that side?
Because the cop's going to come up.
The cop's behind you already.
Yeah, and it's like if he's going to come up, he's going to come up to the driver's side. Like, if I pull over to the left, is he going to actually come alongside the interstate, like on the passenger side?
Exactly. This is ridiculous.
I'm thinking like that's dangerous because I've seen videos.
This is insane. I know that they park their car. I've seen the videos you're talking about. I know that they park their car now offside of you, so that in theory their car gets hit before they get just kind of sideswept. But my point is that you're like, if you have a situation where you have to go through 3 lanes of traffic to get to the right median, or you just pull over immediately, if this is true, then this is just another reason that police need to reevaluate some of their protocols.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not a hater, but I'm not an apologist for.
You're a centrist.
Police. I'm a centrist.
You're a fence-sitting centrist.
Yeah, it's like, it used to just be being friendly with everybody. Now it's just everybody hates you if you're a centrist.
Yeah.
Now you're like just the worst of the worst.
Yeah, like the independent voter.
They think you don't stand for anything when it actually means you
just don't give a shit about one thing or another.
Well, I was going to say you evaluate a situation by situational basis, but also don't give a is fair enough. Anyhow, speaking of the errors of youth, I heard your child is starting to play Sonic.
Well, he also plays Mario, so there's a bit more of a balance of the force. Right. So this past weekend, which when you were here earlier, you had that ability to.
Are you okay?
What's happening? If I did, you were able to share your library with me via Steam, and Nicholas is very happy to go and enjoy Jedi Knight.
I'm happy to hear that somebody's playing these games because I'm not.
Well, he tried to play KOTOR. And I was like,
you need to read KOTOR. A lot.
Yeah, I have it online.
So that's not. Yeah, that's so his account.
Yes, I told him, I'm like, you might not like KOTOR because it's a lot of clicking and pressing, and you have to read things.
It's like a book.
I know, and he learned out the hard way, and he wanted to go, Daddy, can I just play Battlefront? I'm like, okay.
I just want to shoot things.
Pew, 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 pew. So he saw Sonic being on sale, and I think it's called like Sonic Generations, where you get to play as like the OG Sonic, and then you have like the Dreamcast era Sonic, which is like the more modern type of Sonic, but a lot of like side scrolling, and then the level kind of converts into like a 3D type of thing, like the Sonic on Dreamcast. So he's been enjoying that, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm saying like, oh, you got to do the Sonic Dash, and you got to go back up here and pick up speed and stuff like that. And then he gets to this point where he's just like, he's always wanting to call me over and be like, Daddy, can you do this for me? I'm like, I don't know, son. I never honestly played Sonic before, apart from like a couple of times at Toys R Us when they had the machine that you could play, just to try it out and stuff. And it kind of made me remember now with him playing Sonic and him kind of enjoying it. I think more kids kind of like Sonic or know Sonic based upon the movies and the cartoons as opposed to the games, which the more recent games since like the Dreamcast have just been horrible or mildly passable. And I think to myself, and I don't know, I was going to ask you this question too. Did you know anybody growing up who had a Genesis? Because I did not know a single kid that had a Genesis.
I knew a kid who had a Genesis who you know.
Okay. I mean, but that was like in high school, post high school.
No, but he had it when we were in grade school. Bobby J, when I went
Bobby had one?
When I was in grade school with him,
okay, it's completely somebody completely different.
What was the I think I know you were talking about BA. I think what was the game where it was like I swear he was made out of like tennis balls.
Vector Man.
Vector Man? Was that it?
Yes, Vector Man. Credit to Sega. They did have good, solid platformer
Good for you,
games.
Alex. I'm very happy for that you knew this, because I would never have gotten to Vector Man on my own. But yeah, he had Vector Man. I remember going over to his house after, because the grade school we went to, his house was very much within walking distance, and he walked to school fairly often. And one time after school, or a couple of times, I walked home with him to his place, and we played Vector Man, and that's all I remember about his Genesis.
They had some decent platformers, but what's funny is that I don't ever really recall that many people having nostalgic memories about Sega Genesis games to the extent that people have for Nintendo games. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny too, because when you think about
Ultra Beast has some
I played an arcade version of Beastmaster, and it was fun. Or I'm sorry, not Beastmaster, Ultra
Beast, yeah.
But they had like good, solid side-scrolling games. But here's what's funny about this: this was like a 16-bit system, which competed against the NES, which was an 8-bit.
Yes,
and the NES still held its own really well against it
for a long time. Yeah,
yeah. And then when they came out with the Super Nintendo, it was just like,
it's
game over for the Genesis, because the Master System, I don't even know how many people had a copy of the Master System in the US.
Sorry, my hair's sticking up.
But I do recall you could get, I think Master System games could play in a Genesis. They were like backwards compatible. Because I remember seeing the boxes for it at Blockbuster, and it was that white sheet with like the blue grid lines and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what you're talking about. So funny thing,
the base system.
I also know there's another person I know, another family that had both the Master System and then a Genesis. So I don't know how they bought into the Sega world when we were children.
Yeah.
My cousin, my mother's brother's kids had these two systems.
Am I right?
I don't know what that meant.
Boom, tsh, boom, boom, tsh. Colin.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he actually didn't. I was just like,
oh, he's a base Nintendo boy. Oh, was he one of those weird kids that had like the TurboGrafx 16 or the 3DO?
Oh, I know somebody who had that too.
Oh god.
Another kid I went to grade school with. I went to grade school like it
You went to grade school at E3 god. When E3 still existed and meant something.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so in general, broadly speaking, most of the kids had Nintendo or Super Nintendo. My cousin and Bobby had a Genesis, and then there was one kid who had a TurboGrafx 16, I think because it was the cheapest option at the time. I think it might have gone down in price at some point.
Okay, because for some reason...
Maybe.
Because who ran that? It was what was it? It was called the Mega Drive? SNK Mega Drive. Was that?
I think it was
TurboGrafx.
Let's see. TurboGrafx 16 was
the PC engine.
The PC engine, NEC. I remember it was NEC.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is that. So what was the? It launched in 1989. So this was definitely after that he had.
Look how weird that is, because the white one, the white PC engine is a Japan version.
Right.
And the black one is American. Look at how big that, it's such a weird difference between the two.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what else is in what did you put in
the NES is the same way though.
The NES
with the Famicom. The Famicom's kind of
It was. It looked like it was made by Noctua.
It's and also the controllers are hardwired.
And one of them has a speaker in it. It's got a microphone.
Hence the issue of
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda, which was always a baffling.
High five.
It was a baffling thing in the instruction manual that was like they're sensitive to sound.
Yeah,
the
localization
little,
messed up there.
Cat bunny things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
it's the ears.
What am I supposed to do with that information? So then you would try to use your flute.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened.
Then, yeah. You're just like, I just got hit.
It's like I just wasted my flute.
Yeah. I do remember they made the NES smaller when they did like the 2.0 version in the US that became the top loader.
Did you ever have a top loader?
No. It was basically at that point everybody was just moving on to the SNES.
I still have my NES. It's still functioning thing. I almost don't want to use it because it's functioning and I can emulate. I bought NES to USB adapters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally my NES controller from 1989. But it has this like adapter to USB, which is kind of amazing to think about.
Yeah.
So I can still play on a real NES, not a like adapted Chinese knockoff. It's a literal American NES.
Wasn't there something
controller.
where you had to like sometimes like jury rig it through your VCR to play the video?
The NES?
Yeah, the NES. I remember there was a box.
Well, because we had the RF adapter.
Yeah.
But you could also send it directly in. It had an AV connection, RCA connection that you could put through. That was when I did my very first Let's Plays. Back in like 1992, I ran it through a VCR and recorded it.
That's
so
awesome.
I had recordings of my Legend of Zelda playthroughs that I would sit there and watch myself play and be like, yeah, got him.
You should upload them one time. That would be funny to watch.
I'd have to track that down.
Do you know what's funny? I think also I can't really speak for Sega, but from my experience with Sega or Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox, that Nintendo's like products are really well built and they stand the test of time because you were kind of like saying like, you know, you could try to fire up like your original NES or Super.
Oh, it would definitely it would still work.
And it would still work, yeah. Mm-hmm. But then I had like the original Xbox and the thing like the disk drive stopped opening, closing.
Well, you answered
and then like
your
a couple
own
days later it just bricked.
You answered
and then we all had the red ring of death.
You answered your own question, Alex, though. It's that
I know.
The Nintendo had no moving parts. It's all solid state. Solid state storage. The only thing is the little spring loading thing, but that was about
which everybody. I mean, you remember everybody used to crap on the solid state stuff and
cartridges.
Like, oh, disc, optical disc, and now guess what? We're all back to.
That's true. The only thing you're omitting the fact that at the time, storage,
the technology wasn't there.
No, it wasn't there, and it was way more expensive for cartridges, and CDs could hold more data anyway. So
yeah.
Not to be a dick.
I know, no, I fully understand. I fully agree. But now it's just like, well, if you want to download it, now it's like you buy either the optical drive or no optical drive, which I think they're going to eventually just move into just totally online storage or
the
physical.
The X Tube is just
solid state thing.
Is all online.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a drive to like. It's sort of one of those things where I think they're going to sell a external USB drive that's Xbox branded.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Kind of like how they did the HD DVD thing for the 360.
Exactly. It's hard to argue against that, though, when all of PC gaming is cloud.
Yeah, but you can walk into a Best Buy and buy a pre-built computer that has a DVD drive.
I don't think you can. You think that PCs have optical?
With an optical drive.
PCs don't have optical drives still.
We have the desktop. Anybody that has a desktop computer at work, they all come with optical drives.
So let's say
they're all contracted through like Dell or HP, anyways.
So let's
I think it's Dell.
I'm an HP guy, so let's say HP.com. All right. Doesn't matter.
You have to accept or read the options.
Well,
you'll still have to accept.
This browser doesn't remember anything, so it doesn't even matter if I accept cookies because Anyway, so we want
Flex.
business store. We'll do desktops. And where's a regular desktop? Are there any towers anymore? It's not looking good, Alex. Nothing has a...
We've got towers. I mean, I can speak for...
See? Look at... Nope.
Well, we have Dells at the university.
Okay. I'm just saying that modern PCs...
They have the small form factor that can just slide into the back of your monitor stand.
Oh, there we go.
See, yeah.
There we go. Now these are workstations, but actually you know what's funny? Just a little aside.
Mm-hmm.
The Dell workstation chassis.
I like it.
Pretty nice. Even same with the HPs. Basically, the business grade versions of HP and Dell and Lenovo, the insides are a little questionable, but the aesthetics are very decent.
Yes, the outside's very, but you open up the chassis and you're going to have like an ITX or a micro ATX motherboard, and just everything's just OEM parts and stuff. Like that's kind of what it looks like inside my Lenovo tower here. But yeah, the outside look, if that's actually porous, like those grills for airflow, honestly, I would kind of just want to, figure out a way you could just buy one of just the cases and just use that for something.
Okay, so
that's what we have, Optiplex.
Yeah, the Optiplex, that's what my
it looks like a 360.
It's like a 360.
I mean, if you look at it, it's a 360. But when you get thinner, then it loses the width to... Yeah.
I'm delighted that they still have optical drives in them.
Because otherwise, you just have to buy a USB version, or just get find a tower where you can just put in a media drive and just buy that separately and stuff.
Here's my
both of the ones I built.
My LG USB drive.
Yeah. Both
I have one. This is for
both of the towers I got for whenever I did my builds, they don't have any room for, because I was like you, I'd be like, okay, well, if I need to play something like a physical drive, I'll just get a USB one and then pray to God it'll end up working on Windows 10.
I have so much media on DVD-Rs that most of it I've ended up copying to drives. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of your kid's new fascination with... Wait, so did
screensaver segment.
We didn't even get to the... Did he like Sonic?
Yeah, he's really been enjoying Sonic, and, I'm trying to give him a nice little, middle ground of both Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario, because he loves the Mario movie, because, again, it's something that he sees on TV, so he wants to try that out. And I'm still trying... I have to go one day into my attic and try to find my DS... and the games with that. And also I found my PlayStation 2. I didn't find any games, and I'm a little worried about that, because I'm I would not have sold any of those games.
PlayStation 2 is
I even found a PS2 controller still in the original packaging, like Sony brands, not like Mad Catz or anything.
You've got a new and packaged PS2 controller?
Yeah.
How much does that go for?
I think it's an emerald green, one of those emerald green crystal see-through kinds. I got it for Christmas a long time ago.
And you never opened it?
Never opened it. When we lived in our apartment, I actually had the PS2 hooked up to the TV in the bedroom, because I was like, oh yeah, I could just sit on my bed and play it. Never fired it up. Maybe a handful of times. We lived there for 3 years. Never really used it. Because I'm like, oh, I got the 360 in the living room with the big TV, and then I got the, got my desktop and stuff. But it's kind of sad, because...
Is it a DualShock 2 controller? Yes. I was hoping it was going to be more expensive for you, but around $79. Is that?
Yeah, that's the top one right there.
79 for buy it now, 75. 85.
I think it's because
25. Oh, third party though. Okay.
Third party. Yeah, I think it's because there's such a prevalency of all those. And even when you buy those kind of things at Christmas time that you see at Kohl's where they're like, 150 plus games and it comes with this, a DualShock knockoff type of controller. It's just, the design is...
I was looking at buying a buying a Windows 98 computer on eBay because
a little bit of LGR.
Well, kind of, yeah, because there are some games that you just can't, I can't play that I want to, that I would like to play on, but you have to play it on bare metal. I have an AMD Athlon 64 computer that was Windows XP, and I'm wondering if I can put Windows 95 on it, or 98. The problem is drivers.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything with it. It was actually an old my mom's old computer that when she was just like, can you pull the hard drive out and save my information, which I did. It needs a video card because the onboard video is fucked up. Yeah. But I look at it and I'm like, it's still in my closet, and I want to revive it, but drivers have become an issue. That was the thing last time that I ran into, was that I couldn't find any.
I think I have my Vio runs on an Athlon also.
It was the first 64-bit processor from AMD.
Yeah, and I think that was... Yeah, I think it was a pretty penny. I mean, one, it was Sony, and two, it was probably the AMD brand new processor.
I loved my Vio. I loved my Vio.
Oh yeah. I just kind of... It's unfortunate because I kind of wish that Sony stayed in the PC market. But I mean, it just... now it's, Samsung and Toshiba, and I just feel like the Japanese electronics market kind of got kicked out by Korea, which is interesting because if you think about it, it's like, I'm kind of surprised that Samsung has not tried to dip its toes within the video gaming marketplace and try to come up with its own type of homebrewed system of some sort.
Oh man, this was the desktop I had in college that I bought.
Show that backside. Oh,
show that backside. Look at that. This is a third-party video card in it.
Yeah. And that's interesting how the power supply is like side-mounted.
But yeah, it was. I bought it because I wanted an integrated
dual
editing
optical
computer.
Drives, boys.
Oh yeah. See, and I actually pulled out one of these and replaced it with a Pioneer one that I got separately.
I remember, yeah.
It was because it had a black front. Because it was like the hacky guys who had like the mismatched shit on their computers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cobbled together Frankenstein type of thing. It's no longer available. No.
Well, yeah, this is from.
Boo.
See similar items below. No similar items. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for
watching.
Great
era. It just like all that stuff was just even like older technology, like when you get your hands on it, you just want to like just kind of mess around with it and just have fun with it, and just I should have gotten two of these. I should have gotten
better than the clam flavored one.
It's the Chilada Fuego.
Oh.
And it's
spicy, al caliente.
It's got Tapatio hot sauce in it. I should have gotten this. I should have gotten two of these. I know better now. Still keep an eye out for Modelo's. But this one's like, it's got more of a tomato spiciness to it, which I love.
Can I say...
Yes.
I hate this.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And real companies don't even do this anymore. Like, let's just see. I'm just curious.
Yes or no?
Is it gonna? I hope they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Just press one. Yeah.
Okay. A real company just appeared.
Here's the thing. One, kids will eat, like, teenagers will just put in some random date and they'll get through. Or two, they don't even go to your website, so don't even bother.
Teenagers don't go to websites.
No. They don't know what, like, oh, is there an app for it? What's a website?
Is there an app for it?
They barely even know how to use email anymore at this point.
We're gonna get to Gen Z in a little later.
Good.
We got to think. There's a separate thing to talk about with them. But speaking of your child, you guys were doing Halloween decorations recently.
Yeah, we took a trip out to Menards, as we all know, my family's favorite place. I love it because I can buy DVDs and candy and chips.
My wife loves candy selection.
They have now is the time. Like the big bags of just like bulk candy and stuff is good.
Ooh, look at this. 11% off everything. Save big this fall with 11% off everything.
Everything. You want a Dremel tool? You can get it there. God, what a great store.
Check out the home decorating savings at Menard.
Save big money at Menards.
It's like I've told people before. It's like it's the whole. It has replaced the hole in my heart that Toys R Us has left, or actually more accurate, Child's World, because I loved Child's World when I was a kid. But look at all this stuff. Look at that. It's just
this is just the candy section, Alex. Calm down.
I know. It's just you're
but
like
no,
wait,
but there's better candy.
I need 10 pounds of like deck screws, like 2.5 inch deck screws. Why am I looking at candy? Why not 11% off rebate?
I wanted to see. Don't they have like the classic candies here though?
I think they might. Oh, chocolate covered raisins are kind of classic.
No.
Or are you thinking about like Farm and Fleet? Because we got Farm and Fleet too.
No, not Farm and Fleet.
You want to buy chickens? You can buy chickens there. Or if you go to Rural King, you can buy that really sweet Ruger.
Old Mill. That's the thing.
Mm.
Old Mill.
I bought I bought Circus peanuts last year, and they taste atrocious.
No. French Burt peanuts.
Burnt peanuts.
That's the French Burt peanuts.
French Burt peanuts.
But yeah, I like this little Old Mill selection stuff that they've got. This is the jam.
Grandpappy bit rocking in his chair.
Mini cowtails, cherry cream clusters, Old Mill men's logo, buffalo plaid flannel shirt.
Just how Grandpappy used to enjoy it back in the day.
Are you kidding me? Is that the same brand? Oh my god, it is.
I have a pair of Old Mill jeans, and I just use them for just like around the house stuff. I had to use them when I was in the crawl space, and we were doing we were putting like
So you can get your Old Mill chocolate or your Old Mill jeans. Holy God! All right.
God bless America. But yeah, we went there and got some stuff to do decorations. We picked up this adorable little mummy, little like foot tall mummy, and a ceramic mummy. And then Nicholas was like, "I want the Frankenstein," and then Zachary wanted the mummy still. So we're like, "All right, fine, we'll get both." So we have them out on our porch now, next to the welcome sign. Like the little mummy's going like, "Rrr," and the other one's it's a Frankenstein, but it's a pumpkin kid. It's like a jack-o'-lantern
pumpkin. So what mummy are we talking about?
If you scroll down, they might have mummy. Yeah, it kind of looks like that little. Yeah, there we go. The pumpkin kid. No. Bottom left. If you scroll down, yeah, right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, pumpkin hollow shorty character. Yeah, it's a foot tall, and they've got like a bunch of different ones. Yeah, we got that one, and then we got little that guy right there. Yep. That's the one we got, yeah. It's awesome. I love it. I love like the decorations. They're just great. So we got that, and we have the giant spider web with the giant spider on the front lawn.
I remember
the little graves. Yeah, so we're good to go for the season.
You're advertising more for Halloween, or advertising. You're decorating more on
Menards. I get 11% back.
You're decorating more for Halloween than you do for Christmas.
I want to get a whole bunch of like those giant plastic like candy canes and toy soldiers and a nativity set, because we finally got like an outdoor outlet. Like Erica's dad put an outdoor outlet in the front because this house was built out in the boonies. It's middle of Illinois, and we don't have an outdoor outlet. We have 2 faucets,
well, that's
but not
good.
outlets.
Front yard, backyard.
Yeah. So we have that now. So I've been looking at garage sales if somebody would just happen to be selling them, and no luck. And if I want to buy a brand new one, they're like $40 to $60 a pop. It's just like, sure. So in the meantime, we've got Halloween decorations outside. But
you can start with just putting lights on your home for Christmas.
I kind of hate doing that because it's just such a pain in the ass to do that.
Lazy.
I know.
I put Christmas lights.
I'm American.
I put Christmas lights on my mom's house, and I put like a million. Like my electricity bill goes up 125% because.
Dude, that's what my water bill looks like after the summer because of my kids.
It's kind of funny. It's true.
It's true.
It's Erica's fault.
It is. She's enticing them. What's the term? Enabling them.
Enabling them. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
to
it's
get
funny
outside
because she's
and have
like
exercise.
turns on the water. The kids go through once, and then they go over someplace else, and the water just keeps running.
It's watering the driveway, and here come the weeds. So we got all that Halloween stuff. We've only gotten a little bit of candy, just kind of snack on, which happened to be the pumpkins and the candy corn, because Erica she's one of those weird kids that likes the candy corn. I'm not too big on the candy corn.
It tastes like candy.
It's corn that tastes like candy. This tastes like crap.
I promised you earlier that we were going to make fun of Zoomers.
Good.
And we have hit the point of the episode where this happens.
It's Zoomer corner all day.
I try to be accommodating to the naivety of Zoomers.
Yeah, because you're the guy who always says, like, the kids are all right.
The kids are all right, and
are they, Brendan?
Well, so the other thing I try to do is it's very easy to fall into. Look at how happy Alex is. He already knows he's happy. It's very easy to fall into the tropes of being crotchety old men complaining about kids and how much cooler we were and how much better we were and how everything's gone to post our generation. And that's been happening since the beginning of time. Okay?
Imagine what it was like in ancient Phoenicia. And they're saying, all these people, there's these Etruscans, these Carthaginians. This guy up there in Macedonia, this Philip guy, he's
picturing
got this
the Greeks
cocky
being like, they're
Alexander
not
kid.
Being little boys anymore. What's the point?
I mean, you can't go to a feast and even purge anymore. I mean, come on. What's the deal with that?
Oh my god. See, this is part of the problem with our show is that we're too much alike, although we are pretty different in other ways.
We are a nice balance of both things. You are Mr. Blue Lightsaber. I'm Mr. Green Lightsaber.
That is true. That is a perfect way of putting it.
I am Qui-Gon. You are my Padawan.
So, as much as I like to make excuses for Gen Z,
what do they do now?
There's an article that came out on Vox, of all places, that went by, and I looked at it and thought, you got to be kidding me. Gen Z falls for online scams more than their boomer grandparents do.
But they don't know what email is.
It's probably why they fall for it.
You know why? They don't have the bald guy with the mustache holding up the DVDs going I can teach you Excel within 20 minutes.
They have no context for the internet.
Yeah.
The generation that grew up with the internet isn't invulnerable to becoming the victim of online hackers and scammers. You and I are pretty adept at navigating email hoaxes, Instagram hoaxes. You see an ad go by on Facebook and you're like, I'm not buying that. It's going to be it'll say, check out this cool, awesome jacket that's made out of 100% leather and cost $20. It just takes 6 months to arrive. And you're like, Yeah, that's going to come from China and be the size of a Ken doll jacket.
Or what's the other thing? I don't think they even know how to use ad block or anything, because I feel like they're the ones that are looking at news articles and they scroll down. They say, "Oh, Illinois drivers are able to save up to 40% off their drivers." Like, click here.
Zoomers don't know. The funny thing about ad block or U block, as the case might be, is as is currently installed on this browser, uBlock Origin. Bypass paywalls. High doodles. It's kind of Joshi Kokusei CAPTCHA service.
I love
solves 4chan CAPTCHA.
I love also the way that their most read thing on that page happens to be about how the Republican debate is fake, and then at the very top they're saying, "Oh, we're 71% of our funding for September. Please give us money now."
All right, Alex. We're just talking about Gen Z, you dummy.
And I'm talking about them.
The Supreme Court just told Alabama to shut up and listen. It's Vox. What do you want? What
I know, that's the thing.
This is why I think it's funny that this article showed up here, of all places.
Sorry, I'm trying to mix like the okay. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I thought you were masturbating. It's okay.
God, dude, if it was like this.
No, it was just the...
They don't even get this type of humor.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Erica wouldn't be sending us frowny face text messages.
She's sleeping now. She's drifting off the slumberland.
Anyone can get scammed online, including the generation of Americans that grew up with the internet. If you're a part of Gen Z, that is, born sometime between the late 90s and early 2010s, you or one of your friends may have been the target or victim of an online scam. In fact, according to a recent Deloitte survey, members of Gen Z fall for these scams and get hacked far more frequently than their grandparents do.
Pathetic.
It'll just
sad.
Well, here's the thing. Pathetic cat up for that.
I don't think when they say growing up with the internet, they really didn't grow up with the internet, because the internet already existed. It was like, for us, we didn't really grow up with like television. It just, or like terrestrial television already existed. And same could be said with like cable television. We really grew up with, like millennials really grew up with the internet. Like the way it went from like Web 1.0 and then 2.0 and then 3.0. Where are we at? Are we still 3 or 4?
We're on Web 3.
Web 3, okay. And just seeing how it went from like AOL Online and Yahoo and you know the way it's gone from, you know, that to like social media and now just.
Well, the thing is that even our parents have lived through the advent of the internet.
Right.
Through current times, which our parents are like in their 60s.
Yeah. They had to get used to it begrudgingly.
To late 60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And they were too old to completely embrace it the way that we were at that age of, you know, 10 to 15 years old when the internet started becoming 56, like 28.8. Well, okay. 14.4, 28.8, 56K modems. Like, I remember a 14.4 modem. 33.6. 33.6 was a thing that people don't really talk about, but so we went through the entire paradigm shift. But what they're talking about are people who didn't have to do any of that. They grew up with broadband, you know? They don't know what...
Must be nice.
What downloading a 4 megabyte MP3 from IRC would take,
or a single nudie pic,
4 hours. Well, okay, nudie pics
4 days.
Well, I'm pretty sure, allegedly, the first time I downloaded Photoshop was through internet relay chat channel. It was like hashtag, or excuse me, pound, as the kids said back in the day, pound, exclamation point, Leetwares, hacks.com, and you had to talk to bots, and it would just be like you'd look at the inventory, you go through, it was all command line stuff, and you could download. I started downloading Photoshop 5. That was my first version of Photoshop, and it took about like 16 hours. And so the other thing is that we only had one phone line, so I had to be like
an actual physical landline too. Yeah.
I had to be like, Mom, I'm downloading something very important.
Don't answer the phone.
So I started it at like 8 p.m. And so it was like 10 a.m. the next morning where I was like, okay, it is finished. And I got my Photoshop. What
and then you open up a file, is like a 5-minute clip of gay Swedish porn.
It was an executable. Come on. I just installed a bunch of...
Which executes gay Swedish porn?
I'll talk about...
Although that was more like the LimeWire type of...
I was going to say, yeah, doing the IRC world was pretty strict, content controlled, like quality control. Once you got to LimeWire and like Kazaa and these peer-to-peer things, P2P, it turned into a lot of bullshit being passed back and forth. But these kids don't know that. These kids don't know anything about that. This is why the kids don't know how to borrow things on the internet. They just sign up for streaming services with their parents' credit cards.
Yeah. And then they go and, well, even my boomer ass, we subscribe to some streaming services, and then you have an irate wife who wants to go and watch, Halloween-themed horror movies, and everything she wants to watch, you have to get an added-on thing, or you have to go and rent or buy the film.
But you know how to watch videos on the
She's
internet.
in bed, though. She's in the bedroom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, don't you have enough components to make another computer? I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
I have to run it past our
Oh, you want to get another just get like a little set-top box type thing. Like a Nook. Or a Nook, or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Because I can... Can you just buy those pre-built, or is this something I can build?
They're bare bones pre-built.
Okay.
So like, here's
get a little wireless keyboard and a mouse.
Windows 11. What's this all about? Mini PC, Nook box. No. Yeah, we'll talk about this after the show. Okay. Or you can get like a used Optiplex, like the slim ones that you're using.
Oh yeah.
You can get them for like $200, $150 on eBay, and then you've got like a full computer, Windows 10, Windows 11.
Windows 10, good. Okay.
Anyhow, back to this article.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to older generations, younger generations have reported higher rates of victimization in phishing, identity theft, romance scams, and cyberbullying. It's one of the best.
Welcome to Xbox Live, kids.
One of the best tweets ever was I talked about this I think last week. Tyler, the Creator from Odd Future, which is the like how is cyberbullying really a thing? Like, just turn off the computer, turn off your screen, LOL.
Walk away,
walk away. Just like close your eyes. So why is Generation Z so stupid?
He read that verbatim, folks.
This is directly from Vox. Quote: Why is the generation that arguably knows more about being online than any other? For now, that actually is a quote. For now. Why are they so vulnerable to online scams and hacks? There are a few theories that seem to come up again and again. First, Gen Z simply uses technology more than any other generations and is therefore more likely to be scammed via that technology. I swear to God, my mom uses her phone more than anything now. Like, my mom is actually worse than me, I think. I'm very conscientious now about my phone.
Yeah, of all the times you're not too...
I try to put my phone down when I'm talking to people.
Yeah, to try to still keep some sort of semblance of like human-to-human interaction and such. I think it's because, I am kind of guilty of like having to carry like, my phone here around with me. But that's the problem with that is because we have to. There's no central. It's not a landline, so there's no central hub for people to.
I'm not innocent. I just think that I've never noticed you being particularly distracted by your phone during a conversation. So it never stood out to me.
I guess it's because when we were growing up, we were never distracted by, that cream colored phone stuck on the wall with the landline and the curly line.
Well, and I'm trying to be self-aware about it. I try to be like, if I'm talking to somebody, because if somebody's talking to me, and there are exceptions, but if someone's talking to me and they're just like looking at their phone the entire time, or like I'm telling them things, and they're just like this the whole time, I'm like, you're not fucking. None of this matters.
You sound like you're on a date.
I've never had a date like that.
Oh,
I've never had a date
good.
like that. No.
Good. Because let me tell you, I mean,
all the Tinder dates you've gone on,
all those Tinder dates I've gone on. He was such a jerk.
Growing up with the internet gives younger people a familiarity with their devices that can, in some instances, incentivize them to choose convenience over safety. Cybersecurity education for school-age children isn't doing a great job of talking about online safety and blah, 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 blah. That we didn't get any talks about online safety. That was all osmosis for us.
Yeah.
And I remember, I can remember a certain situation where I was on an internet web board about a project. It was a very stylized project. And I was on their forum. And there was a thread that was about like what's the best antivirus software, and a bunch of people just kept saying common sense is my favorite. Common sense is my favorite, and I was like, what's this antivirus software called Common Sense?
CommonSense.com or is it .org?
And then I read. Then there was like other people just putting it out there, like just it wasn't vague. It wasn't jokey, and I was thinking, oh, okay, so yeah, this is it. This is like, why are you like, what's this? Is this link really trustworthy? What are you trying to download? Is a hentai collection 33 gig.torrent off of a Soviet website?
A good gigs.
Is this a good thing to download?
Will this protect my computer?
Why is this torrent an executable? It says torrent, but it says .exe. Is this something I should be downloading?
You know what's
what's
funny?
Common sense is actually a thing.
What's funny is that when you say about the whole build up to the joke on the person, I feel like people online used to be funnier with a lot of that stuff as opposed to now where it's just like, yeah, this is a straight up virus from like Russia or China or whatever part of the country, the Philippines. And these kids are just like, oh, but it's just like they can't get like satirical comedy or like whenever somebody's pulling their leg, like you, which granted you were young at the point, but yeah, it just, this stuff, it's like, oh, we're gonna give you some, some porn or something like that, and now it's just like, no, we're going to go and just like completely crash your system and stuff. But like, it's unfortunate that they don't do that. Speaking of what's a good antivirus software, I did see that a charge for McAfee came through on our bank statement again, because somebody is still using McAfee on her laptop. And I'm just like, I keep telling her, I'm like, you need to get rid of it.
What's the fee?
It's like $100 and some a year.
She got charged for a whole year?
Yeah, because it's when she bought her laptop, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna get." I'm like telling her, I'm like, just Windows Defender, or just don't click on things.
$100?
$100 and some. I think it's like $130 or $140.
Alex,
I know.
No, you gotta put your man foot down. Man foot trumps woman foot. It's just a waste of money.
Oh yeah. I don't even know who the hell who owns McAfee now. Because then he sold it from somebody, right?
McAfee.
Hookers and blow ain't cheap.
So yeah, because it's Halloween time, and that means monsters and fun movies. We watched it. It wasn't very spooky, but we watched a monster movie.
Well, that's what Zachary did that tonight because we read the Mickey Mouse. He has a little a book. It's a Mickey Mouse Halloween book, and he does like little panels that like little.
Okay.
You open up and there's like, oh, what's behind the panel? And he does like there's this one picture of Professor Von Drake dressed up as a mummy. So he like points to it, and he got out of bed, and he starts walking around like this. And I'm just like, that's so adorable.
It's very cute.
Now go to sleep.
Daddy needs some beer. Go to bed.
He needs beer, and he needs man camaraderie.
So yeah, we watched a Japanese movie from 1992.
One? Oh, two.
Well, I mean, you might
Two.
Is it 1992?
I thought it was 91.
No, you're right, Alex. 1991. See, I don't. Alex with the win on that one. Zeiram. Interesting little film. Not little, but, well, kind of low budget.
Budget, but whatever budget it had, used it to its full extent. And there's a sequel.
Maybe we'll check that out again soon.
Yeah.
Bounty Hunters Iria and Bob Coon travel to Earth to capture an escaped bioengineered fighting machine called Zeiramu. This is the cover I remember I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this movie on VHS probably back in 1996 at Blockbuster Video.
It definitely has the vibe of like you'd be at Blockbuster a random night on the Friday or Saturday night, and you're like, I'm just looking for whatever, and you just pass by that sci-fi, or maybe they had this under international sci-fi, and you see the cover, and you're like, oh, what's this all about?
Yeah, what happened was I saw the trailer. I think it might have been like I rented Hard Boiled by John Woo with Chow Yun-fat, and I think this movie was one of the previews on it.
All right.
Or I rented some anime that had this on it. But it was definitely through that route of either Hong Kong action or anime was how I found out about this movie, and I rented it from Blockbuster. And I remembered being pretty entertained by it, but it had been 30 years. No, not 20 years since I saw it. Yeah, 20-some years since I saw it. And it came up again on a YouTube channel that I kind of subscribe to that posts weird film clips. Posted Zeiram, as I knew it, Zeiram. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I said, hey Alex, let's watch a dumb Japanese monster science fiction special effects film. Mm-hmm. And checked out Zeiram. Alex, what did you think about this picture?
It's a quickly flowing film. It's very simplistic. We have an evil alien criminal that's terrorizing the galaxy, lands on Earth, and we need to deploy some special organization, intergalactic organization.
They're like bounty hunters. They're
bounty hunters. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was the girl
Iryu,
and then her artificial intelligence sidekick Babu. And then she gets two Earthmen involved in the whole attempt to capture or eliminate Zeiram. And that's basically kind of the whole thing. Which I didn't expect these two guys, especially the one on the left, I forgot his name, but I didn't expect him to kind of,
Kiriyama and Teppei and Kiriyama.
I honestly didn't. I expected one of them.
Oh, spoilers?
No spoilers. But something to happen, possibly. But Yeah, they were a great part and addition and characters to the whole storyline, and just the way that they kind of helped contribute to the overall process of trying to get the I guess he was an outlaw. I guess.
Yeah, he like escaped from prison, but he was a bioengineered weapon or something along those lines. It's very nebulous.
You kind of you have to try to extract the information yourself on your own.
There's actually a prequel anime called Iria. About her. It's called Iria Zeiram the Animation. And yeah. So there's her. That's the anime version.
I think I've seen the white cover. The top right.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
I've never watched this, but yeah, it's sort of like the backstory about and this came out. Good, this came out after Alex had texted me like, I want a waifu bounty hunter like Iria too.
I do. She did a good job too. It was just like with like the crazy weapons that she had, and then like she's got that white body. She almost like morphed like a Power Ranger into that thing.
Yes, it's very.
And there's like this whole transportation like transport like Star Trek transporter type of device and stuff, and how she has to go and try to thwart him and capture him, and things like that. Was she? I couldn't quite remember. Was she stationed on Earth? Because she's just like walking around buying apples and
no. It seems like that because she talks about how she learned the language, and then Bob is like, I just figured it out. She's like, it's very easy. It's similar to our language, or whatever. It's like a throwaway line that they have.
Okay.
So it seems like there's a weird thing about the script where it seems like Zeiram comes to Earth on his own, but they don't, because she has a line where she's like, we don't know why he's coming to this planet.
There was really,
but it
like,
never,
what was his motivation?
They never expand on that of like, okay, why did he come to it was just like easy pickings over here because a bunch of humans who don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I mean, Pickrell.
Right. But yeah, so it's funny. This movie falls into a situation that a lot of Japanese, especially like sci-fi action, falls into, where this could practically be like a PG kids action film.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from it, like some more violent moments that happen into it.
Pretty much in the beginning, I would say. Like when he's like, I guess, escaping from the prison. The
first scene of that stuff, and then I'm thinking of when the bite on the guy's arm.
Yeah,
pretty violent. Mm-hmm. And then a little bit of stuff at the end gets a little violent. But like the middle stuff, like you've got these guys who are these kind of bumbling Earthlings who don't know what's going on.
You got Bulk and Skull over there.
You've got Bulk and Skull in this like action comedy film.
Yeah, they just kind of get wrapped into it through just a course of random events, and they kind of try to figure out how to contribute. I mean, what's funny is that there's no incentive or motivation for them really to even assist her in this thing, but they just kind of keep going along with it the whole time.
Only thing is that they get trapped in an alternate dimension. So she in order to protect the citizens of Earth, they kind of duplicate a block of Tokyo and mimic it as like sort of like an alternate dimension to trap this alien, this monster in, and those two get trapped in the same location, and then they can't leave, and they get trapped with the monster, and blah 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 blah. But it's a nice, fun little situation. I also, the thing I liked, one of the scenes I kind of appreciated about this is when the one guy's eating the giant cockroach, and it's just funny to me because it's sort of being like, you've got like this cute girl, humanoid looking girl, and her food is this giant like candy cockroach. And the one guy, this guy's like, I can't be around somebody who eats cockroaches, as he's like chowing down on this thing. And it's just like a funny little scene that, it's interesting that they put it into the movie of your cute heroine is also eating cockroaches when she needs a snack.
She's eating the bugs.
Eats the bugs. And she owns nothing, and she is happy.
Well, she lives in a warehouse, so I mean, yeah.
She's just renting it.
The Zeiram himself was an interesting design because when you first see him, you kind of think like he's some alien fungi because of the way that like his head is shaped and it's like on this stalk. And then there's some shots where you look underneath it and it kind of has that like those like I guess you would call them like filters or ribs or something like that, like a mushroom itself. But then later on through the film, he kind of takes on this more like insectoid kind of look to him, almost like a mantis, but then reverts to like a truly like alien thing, and he can kind of create these little like pods that form like these little like minion creature things. He's a very interesting design also, and he walks very like very robotically and very like just stiffly and stuff like that. We're almost like there's a lot of scenes where she's just like fighting him and she's just like handing him his ass.
Yeah, I liked, especially there's like an opening fight scene where she does the gun battle stuff, but then she switches to her suit to fight with, and it just turns into Power Ranger Kung Fu fight scene. That stuff's really fun. And then there's a little bit of that at the end. I didn't so much like Japanese cinema has this trope of people just standing still and shooting at each other. And they do that a lot like, in this movie. And I it's curious to me because
it's like they're 10 feet apart and they're like almost like they're shooting muskets.
Yeah, it's very, and like even like Takeshi Kitano films like Sonatine. I don't know if you're familiar with Beat Takeshi's work at all.
I know about Beat. Yeah,
he's done some films, and it's like Yakuza films, and they do the same exact thing where it's like 5 people standing across from each other, and they just stand still and shoot at each other, and it cuts back and forth as the background explodes, and then random people will just start getting shot, and it's like it's just a weird stylistic thing that Japanese cinema does.
Even the was it the Yakuza papers? They've got stuff like that too, where they're just like it's just like this guy. He's just like psh, 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 and
they're like standing.
Oh, he got shot like once in the leg, and
they're
he's
a
like
foot apart. It's just shooting at nothing. But
it was like he's got like you can obviously tell he's got like a revolver, and he's just mag dumping into another dude, and just like
I also do like that. As opposed to American cinema, which would have, especially in this era, would have used just a modified gun, like functional weapon with blanks in it. They're just using like plastic guns with firecrackers in them. It's like really cute and really quaint. And if you enjoy sort of stylistic things about 90s Japanese, whether it's tokusatsu,
this is very much
and I believe the director, who has another film that I'd like you to watch at some point called Moon Over Tao is the name of the film. I think he's heavily involved in what's it called?
Super Sentai?
No, Kamen Rider.
Okay. Well, if this was like 91, then he might have done a few of those like standalone Kamen Rider films in the 90s. Since the entire 90s, like, with Kamen Rider, like there was only like a few films. There was no series until like 2000, I think, when Kyuga started. But then, the 90s kind of just exploded and became like the Super Sentai stuff.
Yeah, so maybe I'm making this up. Oh no, okay. This is the same guy. So the director is Keita
Amamiya Keita.
Amamiya, yeah. Has had some sort of involvement with most Kamen Rider projects since 1998, after 1988.
Okay.
He's pretty famous in the tokusatsu science fiction special effect movies.
Oh, Garo. Okay, I've heard of Garo.
Okay.
Where it's kind of like this, it looks like a lion. I think. There's some sort of, it's like its own standalone type of tokusatsu thing. I think is more popular in Indonesia or something.
Yeah, this movie, Moon Over Tao.
Roboman Hokkaido. Okay, Roboman Hokkaido. Yeah.
This is, I have this also. I bought this at Anime Central, actually. Moon Over Tao, Makaraga. I like what he does. It's a fun type of science fiction special effect film. But yeah, like I was saying, I think that it's shockingly approachable for children to watch this movie.
Yeah,
there's some
apart
more
from like
intense
those
scenes.
few scenes, we mentioned, but overall, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it could easily be fine. Like if they want to put it on like a kids channel, they could just edit some of the scenes and switch them around and stuff. But yeah, overall, it's very just, it's like watching a Power Rangers spin-off of some sort.
Very, I just found it to be a very fun, lighthearted. Like, I just picture a bunch of dudes having a good time making it, being like, hey, guys, look what I got. If I put this tube and duct tape this, and we put a firecracker in there, look at this. And they're like, oh, that's great. And
let's go with it.
So, I don't know. Do you have anything else you wanted to add about Zeiram?
No, not really nothing. It's like, what is it, like 70 hour and a half long, about 90 minutes. It goes by quickly. You kind of lose yourself because of, the story. It's very simplistic, but you just get lost in like the actual fun and just like just trying to watch all the special effects and just see like what they try to do and things like that. Like there's I remember that one scene where she has that like spike. Like the spike trap and stuff, and being like, okay, then they probably hooked up something to like an air compressor or something like that to be able to shoot it and stuff, and just all the things. And also I liked it when he had the little minions, like the pod that turn into creatures, and she's fighting one. And you can tell that there's like the zipper in the back of the head. And like, oh, that's pretty obvious. But you notice it, but you still like, you're like, oh yeah, there's like a zipper, but you don't care.
The budget's, this isn't a Hollywood movie, This is like the budget's a little. But like, speaking of the minions, I really like the failed minion.
Yeah, that was creepy. Where it's like the half blob
body
creature guy, and he's just like.
He's got like this like green falling out of his mouth, and he's just like, and then he gets stepped on. It's so good, but it's like fun, cool, practical effects.
Yeah, it shows what you're able to do with like, a 16th of that $300 million Marvel budget that goes into films, and you have something that's much more endearing and much more memorable, and you kind of have more fun just watching it and appreciating what goes into it.
Yeah, it's because there's more creativity behind it. It's like we have to solve these problems without just being like, oh, we'll figure it out with CG. So I think that's a fun aspect to it.
Yeah, it's smaller budget. It's not where decisions are made by committee. It's more made by just a bunch of people that have past experience and skills in something, being like, we want to shoot this particular type of scene this way with this stuff. How are we all going to go about doing it? And it's something that pays off. And I would give this one easily a 3 out of 4 pots of gold.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I know there's a sequel, and you said there's kind of like that prequel anime. I haven't seen either of them. I think right now the sequel might be on Tubi, if I'm not mistaken.
Tubi and Amazon, I think you said.
Okay, yeah, maybe Amazon. In fact, I think it might even be on my watch list on Amazon. But the original this one from '91. It's still, I was just like sitting there. I'm just like, I don't want to finish this movie. I don't want to stop this movie and pick it up another time. I just want to sit and enjoy and watch the film. And it was a surprisingly fun time, and I enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad you had fun. I agree. It held up the way I remembered it, which was just like a fun thing. Also, always kind of fun to see 90s Japan. In that early, like the first like 20 minutes of just normal Japanese
everyday. I think it was right on the. I don't know what year it was when it occurred, but this might have been like right on the cusp of the the recession that occurred and stuff like that.
Right.
Which then this was sort of like the end of like that glory 80s period, even though this is 91. There's a little bit of
the miracle.
Yeah, and then you kind of get into like the 90s where then all the creativity and the thought processes of making films and especially anime and what came out of the 90s period of anime kind of took from that whole event happening in Japan.
What was it? The Plaza Accord? That was 85.
Okay.
But
Plaza
anyway,
Accord.
yeah.
Well, that's when they switched from the gold
get,
standard.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to go into that. So Alex, 3 Pots of Gold. I completely agree. It was a very fun time. I was very happy to revisit it. Now I'm very curious to finally watch Zeiram 2 and maybe watch the animation. We probably will watch something spookier for the next review. Try to find something more in line with Halloween-y stuff. Especially since we've only got technically, I think, 2 more full episodes before the end of the season.
Let me take a look here.
425.
Yeah, the one in 4 weeks' time on the 25th, I guess, if we're doing like the thing. Yeah, that'll be right in time for Halloween. Yeah, Halloween week.
I'm curious to see. I just want to see what was the first episode of Culture Doom was posted. 401 was posted on November 21st. Well, so that would be a full year, not 25 episodes. Sorry, we used to do that's. So that's we're missing 1 week. So maybe we'll do 53 or 23 episodes this week. We'll see. This month, this year, whatever. We'll see how it pans out for the end of the season.
Okay, so what I was referring to just now as a follow-up was the Japanese acid price bubble bursting in 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was right on the eve of that occurring.
So it was back when everything was good.
Yeah.
Just like the US was 1991, 1992. But on that note, Alex.
Well, the 90s were overall good, I think, for us.
Yeah, 90 to 99. It was fine till 2001.
Yeah.
But on that note, my dear friend.
Yes, Brendan.
Since I desperately have to pee again.
I do too, and we need to go to sleep.
Would you please wrap up this week's show of Culture Doom?
We will catch you on the next episode of Culture Doom. This was 423 on behalf of my friend Brendan, my co-host, Brains of the Outfit. My name is Alex. They'll be watching you until the next episode.